Andy, can you just tell me, as I say, as we sit here today, September 2011, I mean, have you got any sort of little gems up your sleeve, so to speak, in terms of properties that you're currently looking for perhaps some joint venture partners? And if anyone's listening to this, that you know, that you'd like to perhaps hear from them?
I have indeed, actually.
Really?
Yeah. There's always properties coming through.
Yeah.
But,
anything specifically you've got in mind that
some are better than others.
You're quite excited about?
I'm looking at a couple recently.
Right.
On a similar strategy.
Okay.
Which is whereby we buy a freehold block.
Right.
Containing existing flats.
Right.
Leasehold. Containing existing flats, which are already converted.
Right.
With the objective being do very little building work. So throughout my time, I've used to do a lot of building work because that's my background. But I've been trying to work smarter and trying to improve value, add value without doing any building.
Right. Okay.
So concepts I came across a few years ago when I started doing it was to buy a freehold block. In that instance, it was 4 flats.
Right.
Being sold by a builder who was getting divorced.
Okay.
And they were already converted into, this was in Weymouth, already converted into 4 flats.
Right.
Each of those flats I knew was worth 125,000. So if you took the individual values of each flat, that is 500,000.
Sure.
But I bought the whole for 350.
Right.
So it's asset stripping basically.
Yes.
So you're, if you can grant yourself leases on each of those individual flats, each worth 125,000,
yes,
you can raise some finance on each of those individually.
Right.
So we arranged buy-to-let mortgage on 4 flats at one time for roughly 70% of their value, which gave us 4 mortgage offers at £100,000 each. So you can see that's £400,000.
Yes. Yeah.
So the cash I used to buy that place was 350,000 plus stamp duty and buying costs, so nearly 400. So I then got mortgage offers for 4 times £100,000. So one particular day we granted ourselves new leases, drew down the mortgage funds for all 4 properties,
Right.
and then obviously paid off all the cash it had taken to buy that property. So therefore we had 4 flats, we've got no capital left in.
Right.
So whatever return we're going to get off those is infinite.
Yes. Yeah.
So at any point I could sell off 1 flat, 2 flats, or gradually all 4 of them.
Gosh. Right.
And the profit on those will be, well, at today's price is roughly 20,000 each, roughly. So there's sort of 80,000 sitting in the bank there that could be sold at any one time.
Yeah.
Or I could sell them off gradually.
Yeah.
But I still own the freehold. So as those leases get shorter, the new owners, after, I don't know, 40 years or something, 30 years, will want to extend their leases.
Yes.
And if I pass that freehold on to my children,
Yes.
then those new leaseholders will approach my children
Yes.
to buy lease extensions.
Yeah.
For, I don't know what they cost, 50,000-ish.
Yes.
So that's quite a good way of leaving an asset
Yeah, absolutely.
that you don't pay inheritance tax on.
By maintaining the
Yeah.
freehold.
Which is how the London families have done it. They've short leases,
Yes.
sell them off, and then
Right.
everybody needs to keep extending their leases.
So just to understand what you're saying, so you've got potentially 1 or 2 opportunities along similar lines at the moment?
Yeah, looking at one in Dorchester,
Yes.
one on the Isle of Wight, the 11th.
Right. Opportunities along similar lines at the
Yeah,
moment?
looking at one in Dorchester,
Yes.
one on the Isle of Wight, the 11
Right.
11 flats.
Right. Just to understand what you're saying, so you've got potentially 1 or 2 opportunities along similar lines at the moment?
Yeah, looking at one in Dorchester,
Yes.
one on the Isle of Wight, the 11
Right.
11 flats,
Right.
and looking at one in Devon as well.
Gosh.
But obviously they need to hit certain criteria,
Yeah.
and it's a very complicated thing to do.
Yes.
But I've done it once, and
Right.
during the 2008, when all the mortgages were being withdrawn by the companies all the time,
Yeah.
we just about managed to do it then.
Right.
So it is possible.
So again, for people listening, but just describe the sort of person that you want? What sort of investment would you be looking for say the Isle of Wight or?
That was quite significant. That's nearly I think it's 900,000, that one.
Right. Okay.
Of which obviously we could borrow quite a bit off a bank.
Yes.
But we'd still need 200 or 300.
So someone's got like £200,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about Dorchester and?
Dorchester's 700,000, so that's a bit less. And
Yes.
we're looking at one in Bristol, which is less than that.
Right. Okay.
But or we could just buy the whole thing cash.
Yeah.
And then refinance it once we've done the leases.
Right.
Slightly depends on these properties. If you've got cash, then you can move much quicker.
Of course.
And
Yes.
you can bargain a lot harder.
Right. Right. And what about sort of the other end of the scale? Have you got any properties up north that perhaps?
Yeah. Got a one in Wales that's looking at that might be a goer.
Yes.
And that might only take about 20,000 deposit.
All right. Okay. So.
Which we can then do things with to get some of that back. But
I guess something can actually perhaps also start off in a small way, just to experience working with you.
Yeah. Well, that's what some people do, is that they just do a little one.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the minimum. Well, it's very hard to say what the minimum is because it all depends on what projects sort of crop up.
Sure.
But yes, often people try one.
Yeah.
And see how it goes.
Yeah.
Maybe rent it out for a year, nothing disastrous to happen.
Yes.
And then they do another one. Or we can get their cash out to either give back to them.
Yes.
Or they leave it in and we do another one.
Sure. I think it's a testament to you, Andrew, that there's a great saying that you can sell a product once, but it's people who sell it more than once, and people keep coming back for more. And I think the fact that you've actually got people who've come back for more, and you've done multiple ventures with you, I think it's pretty a testament to the fact that you are successful and you are trustworthy. I think, but it's interesting to say that perhaps if people are listening, that they can actually say go in in a small way, try it out, not quite try before you buy, but on that basis, and then if they're happy with that and it works, obviously they can actually do something else with you. But excellent, thank you.